This COVID pandemic, fellow Kenyans, is not only a health crisis, but it is also fundamentally an economic crisis. Jobs have been lost, businesses have had to close, and the economy is generally on a go-slow. So therefore, to combat the effects of this downturn, my administration has had to take additional measures. Today, I am happy to announce the rolling out of my 8-point economic stimulus program, amounting to some 53.7 billion Kenya shillings. The injection of this money into the economy will stimulate growth and cushion families and companies as together we navigate our way out of the COVID-19 pandemic. The first element of this 8-point program will focus on infrastructure. Fellow Kenyans, I'm sure you're all aware of the damage that has been caused to our infrastructure as a result of the ongoing rains. And this has affected our country across the entire length of our borders. To address this challenge in the short term, as a government, we intend to rehabilitate damaged access roads, footbridges, and other public infrastructure. We have set aside a total of 5 billion Kenya shillings to hire local labor, our local young men and women across the country, to engage in this undertaking. We are convinced as a government that with the use of local labor and local construction materials, in line with our Buy Kenya, Build Kenya policy, we will be able to stimulate and support micro and small businesses across the country. The second element of our stimulus program will be about education. We know that parents, and indeed our children across the country, are concerned about what the future holds for them. But I want to assure you that in the very near future, we shall be communicating after the extensive discussions that are ongoing between parent-teachers associations, with our teachers, with our school administrators. We will be able to come out to you and tell you what plans and programs we have for our education sector to ensure that our children are able to carry on with their education. But in the meantime, in our current budget, we have allocated an additional 6.5 billion shillings to the Ministry of Education. The purpose of this is to hire an additional 10,000 teachers and an additional 1,000 ICT interns to support our digital learning program. The program will also support the improvement of school infrastructure, including the acquisition of an additional 250,000 desks across the country, and these desks will be made by our local artisans across the country. Of this particular objective is to get thousands of our graduates off the bench and off the street into action, while at the same time supporting our local artisans, our local builders, and their businesses. The third element of our program will target our small and medium enterprises. During this COVID pandemic, the liquidity of these enterprises has been adversely affected. The stimulus program that we are proposing will deal with this in two ways. First and foremost, we have allocated Kenya shillings 10 billion to fast-track payment of outstanding VAT refunds and other pending payments. I'm also happy to note that just yesterday, the National Treasury released about 30 billion Kenya shillings towards the payment of pending bills in the road sector. In addition to this, we will inject a further Kenya shillings 3 billion as seed capital for the SME Credit Guarantee Scheme. The intention here being to provide affordable credit to our small and micro enterprises. And to do so in an efficient and structured manner, borrowing from the professional standards and practices of the private sector credit arrangements. Health is our fourth target of our 8-point stimulus program. My administration intends to hire another 5,000 healthcare workers with diploma or certificate level qualification for a period of 1 year. This will not only enhance our COVID-19 response capability, but also enhance the implementation of the Universal Healthcare Coverage Program. Further, the stimulus program will set aside a further 1.7 billion shillings for the expansion of bed capacity in our public hospitals. And here, I encourage our Ministry of Health to utilize our Juakali sector in this endeavor. Let us make and build these beds that we shall supply here locally so that that money circulates in and amongst our people. Similarly, resources will be pumped into our medical research facilities to enhance their research capacity, which is critical to generate new innovations in the medical field, new innovations that will not only help us combat COVID-19, but also other diseases and afflictions that may face our people now and into the future. But with the extra resources, these facilities will also undergo some level of reform to optimize their performance. So fellow Kenyans, you will be hearing of changes in the sector of research to ensure that those who are going to be charged with that responsibility and with the resources being given are up to the task of meeting the desire and objectives, not just of government, but of the people of Kenya. I am persuaded that these reforms will upscale our medical research facilities to a standard that can indeed rival any in the rest of the world.